Hey everybody, this is Kim, the Divine Warrior Goddess from divinewarriorgoddess.com, and happy Solstice. I wanted to go live, and then I thought I haven't made a video to put on my YouTube channel in quite some time, so I thought, you know what? Some people on my YouTube are not on Facebook, so I thought, let's make a video. Happy Solstice 12/21/2019. This is a pivotal day of this very important passageway, the sacred passageway of 12/12, 12/21, and the new energies of 2020, which have been coming in steadily for months now, but will now begin to really propel us forward. And this is the end of the 7-year cycle from the beginning of our true ascension, where the energies shifted in 12/21/2012. So I was being inspired to have you look back to that time and see how far you've come. I know I had been on my spiritual path a very long time, since the 90s, but 2011 was truly the beginning of the ascension energies coming in and waking us up. So we really began awakening in 2011. Many of us did. And I had that year had decided to go back to college. So I enrolled in a couple of programs, and I was taking a class, and it was a law class, and I awoken to what was really going on in the spiritual church that I belonged to at the time. And we had, I believe it was 2001, I was a co-founder of this spiritual church. We began a healing service, which was beautiful, and it was exactly what I needed. So I was with this rather large spiritual family for 15 years. And in this law class, I realized that something that had occurred with me and another minister and the leader of our church, was against the law in this law class. And it helped me to see the distortions of what had been going on, what was occurring. Now, I have to say that the spiritual teacher, I learned so much, was guided and helped to develop my clairvoyance and my healing gifts. I learned how to give a message with integrity and honor. But during this awakening in 2011, I really began to see how this teacher did not practice everything that she taught us. And I felt disillusioned and violated, and I wanted to resign Now, this was all volunteer, mind you, all those years it was volunteer. But, obviously I couldn't just stop going. I had to resign. Everyone that came there, I was a part of that church. So my guides told me, my team told me that I could not leave. It was not time yet. I had to go, and I had to observe with my eyes wide open. So I did, and that was 2011. So the funny thing is that in December, and actually on December 21st, 2012, I was finally told that I could resign, that it was time. And you can't even imagine the relief and that I had, because I had seen everything clearly for a little over a year, and I was really ready to go. I know that if I had left before then, I may have had regrets, but I did not regret it when I was finally told. Now, my team from the start in the 90s was Jesus, Mother Mary, and Archangel Michael, and then, of course, my other personal guides. So they had guided me through that and so much in my life moving forward. And so after I resigned, I had no idea. We knew something big was happening then, but really didn't comprehend ascension at that time and what that really meant. So it was the beginning of ascending. So I want you to think back around that time, 2011, 2012, and see how you woke up to really seeing the duality taking place, playing out in your life. Now, it took me many years after that to grieve the loss of my spiritual family. And I felt lost because I had this huge spiritual family. There was 12 ministers in this church, plus their spouses and families. We'd all become a family. And I lost everything because they all turned away from me when I resigned. I wasn't even contacted or thanked for my service from the lead head minister of the church. And she told them that her guides told her not to contact me. Now, I'm sorry, but that was her ego. That was not her guides. So we have been on this journey for 7 years, all of us, and think back and notice everything that it hasn't been easy. We have been on supercharged in releasing our emotions, our density, as the photonic light of our soul is embodying. It's been a lot of hard work. Let's face it. You've been working hard. I've been working hard. It's not easy to allow these emotions to come up for release that have been held within our body. Our physical vessel has been releasing so much. We have been clearing our Akash. We have been clearing our human karma, our galactic karma. I had gone the route. We either go the angelic route or the galactic route as starseeds, which we're all starseeds. We're all angelic. We're all of these things. But yet we start with either angelic or galactic, and mine was angelic, and I was very close to my angels and all the angels, archangels and guides and fairies and unicorns. But it wasn't until some years ago that my galactic aspect showed up, which was rather surprising to me, because I had not resonated with the galactics before then. And they always come to me as the Galactic Council of the Light. And when they did the first time, I had never even heard of the Galactic Council of the Light. And so they always come to me as that way, and not occasionally, but not very often, as Pleiadians or Andromedans, or those individual aspects. Mostly it's all collective. So we have been doing so much work on ourselves. We have been embodying the light of our soul. We are on physical body ascension. And let's face it, it's been a wild ride as we've been doing all this work, clearing timelines, closing them out, connecting more with our higher self. As we embody our higher self, we get more and more connected. I no longer meditate as I once did, as life becomes a walking meditation. We're more connected even when we don't feel like it, even when we're flat out in bed for days, weeks, months, years, and we don't feel connected. We are more connected than ever before. We can't do anything wrong. We're always led to do what we need to do, even if there is a difficult, so-called difficult, challenging lesson within there. That was all meant to be. That's clearing our Akash. That's clearing our karma. So we're clearing our human Akash. We're clearing our galactic Akash. We have been doing all this stuff. A lot of this work is done in our sleep state, in our dream state. You may wake up and remember, oh, wow, what was that? You know what? Our human mind tends to overanalyze absolutely everything. Our higher self just allows. So if you can keep that in mind as you are experiencing wild, crazy, vivid dreams, some of it might be quite startling. Don't try to overanalyze it. Just be. Just allow it to be. It's clearing on its own. It's almost as if we're being taken on a magic carpet ride, and all we need to do is be. All we need to do is allow all of this to come up. Allow it to clear. We don't allow ourselves, though, to stay stuck in this energy. We allow it to come up, and we allow it to release. And we may have to sit in it, in its uncomfortableness for however long it takes. For me, it happens a lot faster now. The really deep stuff may take a few days. Sometimes it's an hour. Sometimes it's a couple of days. It may be a week. Allow yourself to feel these deep feelings, but don't become attached to them and hang on to them. It's important to allow them to release. And it gets easier and easier and faster the more that we do it. So today, the energy is exquisite. I feel filled with joy. My heart is bursting. These new 2020 timelines that are, I'm hearing solidified, the new codes, all the new codes have been activated. They've been activating the last 6 months little by little, but now they're all activated for these all new 2020 timeline for the next 7-year cycle. And it's exquisite. It's beautiful. So it's important to stay steadfast with your vision of what do you want to create. Even if you don't have any idea what that looks like, you focus on filling yourself with joy, filling yourself with love, not allowing ourselves to be caught up in so-called nonsense of the human nonsense. We simplify our life because the ego likes to complicate. The soul needs simple. Because let's face it, we need a lot more downtime. We need a lot more rest time. And when we have energy, we focus on service and what do I need to do today? What should I do with this energy that I have today? And it may be global, such as making a video or writing something, or it may be something as simple as going out and doing something kind for someone. Buy them a meal, open the door, have a beautiful conversation that makes someone feel important and loved, because they are. And that is a service role that often gets overlooked, and that is so very important. So, of course, gatekeeper and grid keeper work is very important. Whatever it is that is important to you, focus on your joy. Because when you bring someone else joy, you're filled with joy. You fill your vessel with love. So I want to thank you for all of your hard work these past 7 years, and focus on the gifts that you are receiving in each moment, and the all new higher timelines that we are in right now. We're being propelled. I traveled a couple weeks ago, and the brakes came out, or the brakes went off in my car. And I did write an article, the ascension brakes are off, because as a light messenger, whatever happens to me is also a message for certain parts of the collective. So I share. So the ascension brakes are off, baby. We are ready to rock and roll. We are on a higher timeline trajectory. Focus on that. Let's let these lack programs go. Let's let this victimhood program go. And we focus on abundance, because abundance is not a thing. Abundance is energy. So we are filled with an abundance of love. We are filled with an abundance of light. As you know, we have so many physical issues going on with ascension, but what does that mean? That means that with each of these physical things that we go through, we are embodying more and more photonic light, which is the light of our soul. It's so beautiful. It is so profound. And after I experienced that, and I took my very first plane ride, and which was one of, if not my biggest fear my entire life, I was rewarded greatly. I need to talk about that night. I had many visions, many experiences, which in our dream state, our sleep state, it is a reality and it really is happening. So I was going down this tunnel as I was descending, and it was a square tunnel. I mean, I've been through wormholes and portals, and this was different. This was square, and I was going down, and the symbolism of that was a box. I wasn't to fit in a box anymore. We cannot fit into a box anymore and do things to people please. Now is the time to do in each moment what you feel aligned with. But it was also the fall of consciousness, which for me brought up a lot of anger the next few days. But that was my reward, because my reward and fear has been coming up for a few weeks now, very heavy. And it's just coming up for release. So, ascension doesn't look like what we may think it does. We're releasing so much. So I was releasing, I was remembering the fall of consciousness. And instead of making me cry, it made me angry. But I was angry at someone else, and sometimes it takes some time to figure out the meaning of what transpired. And it will just come to you. You don't have to work really hard at it. So what happened was my car, the brakes went out a few hours before I was flying. And I took a few days to think about what to do with my car, because my car was very old. And it really wasn't worth spending that much money to fix it. So I thought, oh my gosh, now I'm going to have to get a new car. So last Saturday, which was a week ago today, I woke up and I just kept hearing, you're going to buy a car today. You're going to buy a car today. You're going to buy a car today. After the third time I knew that I had to go, there was a car that I had keep being drawn to. So I said, well, I at least have to go test drive it now, don't I? So I did. I went and test drove it, and everything magically fell into place for me. And I drove home with an almost brand new car. I had no intention of doing that. But you know what? It was a gift from my universe, my higher self, which is me. And it was also a huge leap of faith and trust. And see, I have faith right above my head on the tree. And complete and total surrender to my universe, my higher self. We have to surrender completely. In every way, every aspect of our life, we have to surrender. and trust and know that we are always going to be taken care of. That's where a lot of this fear is coming up the last week. Oh my gosh, how am I going to make this car payment? And you know what? I'm refusing. I allow it to come up, but I refuse to believe it because it's all about faith. It's all about surrender. It's all about trust. We cannot and we do not have safety nets on. The higher we go on our ascension journey, there are none. It's like free falling without a parachute. Just total surrender and trust. So I hope that this has inspired you to look forward to the joy. Even when we're in those deepest, darkest releasing of our density and these emotions, it can be joyful because we are letting that go. And yes, we have a lot of programs. We have a lot of fear. We have a lot of anger and resentment. It's just got to go. And this photonic light, it shakes it all up so that we can get rid of it. And it may seem like you may think, oh my God, I've been doing this for years and years and years. Yes, that's how much has been in us. But with all of these releasing, we have more light. We can hold more light and truly embody the light of our soul right here, right now. Isn't that beautiful? Think about that. We're ascending on the earth plane. We do not have to cross over anymore to ascend. And I see some of my loved ones are not very comfortable, but they're definitely in the fourth dimension, and they're seeing beings, which, I mean, I have since the 90s, and now they are. They're waking up and seeing those that have crossed over or are in another dimension in their bedroom. And it scares them and makes them uncomfortable. This is going to be happening a lot to everyone because our beautiful Mother Earth is ascending and we're ascending with her. So that's just, my hair looks like, anyhow, that's just the way it's going to be. And, you know, we're going to see a lot going down in this next coming year of things that may not look so pretty for those that are still heavily clearing their Akash and their human karma. And it's not going to be pretty if they haven't been doing the work. But we all have to go through it. So it's important not to judge them and support them when we feel it's appropriate. And always be love. Always be love. So I think I'm going to leave you with that because I didn't want this to be quite this long. So I love you. Happy solstice. And you're doing beautifully. You're doing wonderfully, no matter how you feel. And I thank you so much for all of your love and all of your service and every little thing that you do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you, I love you, I love you. Happy solstice. Focus on the awesome Focus on the amazing gifts that you are going to receive and already are. Thank you. Bye for now.